All right, writing inequalities, student handout 4. We are going to be doing verbal statements can be translated to algebraic inequalities. Much like deciphering a secret message or translating from one language to another. So we're going to be deciphering some math messages. What is this symbol here? Less than. What's some other words that could indicate less than?
Minimum?
Yes.
Minimum.
Minimum is something else.
Ooh, we have this in the notes.
You don't have anything other than this.
Not as much.
What's another word for less?
Least.
Smaller than?
Least
Mm-hmm.
There's another word for less.
small.
Starts with an F.
Fewer.
Fewer than. So we have smaller than, less than, below, and fewer than. All stand for less than symbol. So what is this symbol? Greater than. So what would be some words that could represent greater than? More than. Larger than. Above. Exceeds. Fancy word there. What is this symbol?
Less than or equal to.
Less than or equal to. Anybody have any?
At least.
No more than?
At least.
Wait, minimum?
No. No more. Minimum.
Maximum.
At least.
At most. No more than. Less than or equal to. So, what is this symbol? Greater than or equal to. So, what could be some synonyms?
At least and
At
minimum.
least, minimum, no less than,
More than or equal to.
greater than or equal to. All right, so let's decipher some mathematical codes, shall we? Number 1 says, a number is at most 15. What is a key word that we just learned?
At most.
And at most.
Less than.
And what does that stand for?
Less than. Less than or equal to.
Less than or equal to. What does a number mean? A variable, such as x. And what does 15 mean?
15.
Woo.
5.
Let's see if I deciphered the code correctly. Woo! I did. All right. Number 3. Let's see if we can manage to decipher this code. The quotient of a number and -2 is greater than or equal to 10.
can't do that.
What is a key word we see here? Is greater than or equal to. That means this symbol here. And what does quotient mean?
The sum of a division problem, pretty much. Like
The sum of a division problem.
no,
That's
it's
the
like-
first I've heard of that.
That's not what I meant.
The answer probably of a division problem?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Quotient means divide, and we're big kids now, so we use fraction bars for division. A number and -2. So how is that written? X over -2. And what is it greater than or equal to? 10. And I deciphered correctly. Not at the moment. Number 4. 4 less than a number is at least -6. What's my key words here?
Less than and at least.
Have you ever seen a problem have 2 inequality signs? No. So what is this less than acting at? As a subtraction. And a few lessons back, I told you to put a star next to less than because you have to handle it special. What was that special thing you had to handle? You had to read it backwards. So I'm going to read what's behind it. Behind it says a number. What does that mean? X. Then what does less than mean? Minus. What is it minusing? 4. What does at least mean?
Greater than or equal to.
And -6. Okay, let me explain this one a little further. This 4 less than a number of why it has to be written backwards. If someone was describing my age, so my age was the variable, and they said, I am 4 less than their age. What am I doing to their age to find my age? Subtracting 4. So if somebody wrote it like this, they're saying my age has to be below 4 years old. I'd appreciate the compliment, but do I look like a toddler? No. Okay. So if I wrote it like I read it, it's not making sense. You're not taking away my age from 4 to try and find it. You're taking away the age minus 4 to find my age. This does not make sense. So that is why you have to kind of read that backwards. And I am correct. Boy, I'm almost smart enough to be a teacher.
You said almost. You should go to college for it.
Huh, that's an idea.
No, you can say it.
So how would you be a teacher?
Number 8 says 1/2 of a number plus 5 is greater than 11. Give me any number. 8. I heard 8. What's half of 8? 4. How did you get 4?
Because that's half of it.
You divided by 2. So if I don't know a number, I call it X. How do I take half of it? Divide it by 2. Then it says plus 5. What does plus 5 mean? Oh, challenging. Is greater than 11. Sir?
Why wouldn't it be division like x? Just do x plus 5. Because I thought 1/2 of a number, like.
Oh, you thought of as a multiplication? Okay, well, watch this then.
That's what I put.
Why did I not put that first? Probably. Because what do you do whenever you solve this? You normally move your variable up to the top, and so I just skipped a step. So, yes, this is correct, but I just kind of made it a little simpler. Yeah. So they both mean the same thing. All right, so what I want to do on the back is number 10, 11, and 12. I have some inequalities listed on the board. I'm going to start the expressions, and you're going to send me the number for each of the problems that they match. You will have a minute for each problem, so you have way too much time. Your expression is going to tell you if you're correct or incorrect. The sum of twice a number and 4 is at least 16. What does sum mean? Add. What does twice a number stand for? Multiply a variable by 2. So 2x plus what? 4. What is at least? What symbol is that? Greater than or equal to 16. So what does that match with? Number 2. Number 11, I have 1/2 of a number less 6. What is 1/2 of a number? X over 2. What is less 6? Minus 6. Greater than or equal to 10. And that matches 7. Then I have 3 times a number. What does that mean? 3x. Increased by 7. Plus 7 is less than 11. And that matches number 12. All right, let's try the next 3 sets. Sending me the number that matches. All right, going over this problem. You had to solve these to see which inequality was correct. There's not even a positive 6 on the graph. There's not even a negative 16 on the graph. This one was pointed the wrong direction. The variable was not listed first, so it could not have been this answer. When solving this one, I would get x is greater than or equal to -4. Values that were bigger than -4 were to the right, so it had to be option D. All right, I want to go back to number 13, and I want to finish solving and graphing that. Did I go over these problems? Oh. What was the difference of 2 and a number? Difference of 2 and a number, so that's 2 minus x is at least, what is the at least sign? Greater than or equal to a -1. So I have an example problem on my marker board that looks a whole lot like this problem. I've got to move this 2 first. Is the 2 positive or negative? How do I move a positive 2? I'm going to subtract 2. The x still has a negative attitude. I bring down the negative attitude with it. Bring down the inequality sign. I have a -1 and a -2. Combines to a -3. Is x by itself?
Yes. Why is it flipped?
No.
It's got a negative sign. I've got to get the negative off. It's understood to be a -1 right here. Being multiplied. What's opposite of multiplication? So I'm going to divide both sides by a -1. I get x, and I said divide and negative in the same sentence, so what do? Flip the inequality. What's a negative divided by a negative? Positive. 3 divided by 1? Positive 3. Now I'm able to graph this. Would it be open or closed circle?
Close.
Closed. I need numbers that's smaller than 3. Is 2 smaller or 4 smaller? 2 smaller, so I'm shading this way. And there's my graph. Okay, 14. A quotient of a number and 5. What does quotient mean?
Divide.
Divide. A number divided by 5 is no greater than, less than or equal to, a negative 9. How would I go about solving this?
X times 5.
I multiply both sides times 5. X gets alone. Do I flip the sign? No. 5 wasn't negative. What's a negative 9 times a positive 5? Negative 45. So I'm going to put negative 45 here. Let's count by 5s. What would this be?
Negative 30. Wait, negative 40.
Negative 40. Negative 35. What would this be? Negative 50. Negative 55. Open or closed?
Closed.
Closed. I need numbers smaller than negative 45. Is that negative 50 or negative 40?
No, negative 50.
Negative 50 is smaller. So there is my graph. So your homework, you're having to write the inequalities. Then you have to solve them. The answers are at the bottom of the simplified inequalities. Then you're trying to figure out what a bird's favorite type of math is.
Oh,
Algebra.
Ow.
I don't know about all that.
seagull.
What do I say at the end?
Don't forget to get a good grade.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget the good grades.
Yeah.